Hi, everybody. My name is Karina. I work at Michael's in the marketing department, and I am here today to teach you and really just to walk along with you to create these really fun clay ornaments. Today is day 3 of the winter workshop. Thank you for joining us. If you've already attended the last 2 classes as part of this program, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for creating with us, and thank you for sharing your time. We have about 9 more days of the winter workshop left, so make sure to check out the crafts that we have upcoming and sign up if you have the time to attend a few more before it's over. I do want to talk through our finished project and then all the supplies. So if we've given everybody enough time to kind of jump on, I'll be talking through the supplies list for a little bit to give you time to gather it if you haven't done so yet. So if you don't mind, Ash, changing the spotlight. Yes, thank you. Okay, so these are our finished ornaments here. We have this really cute Christmas tree, and of course you can create anything that you'd like. These are just the ones that we'll be creating today. And this beautiful, it has like a mandala design on it. And then a stocking, you can put your name on it. So pretty simple, and you can get any color you'd like. So what we have today is our soft air dry clay from Creatology. This one I thought it was really convenient. It had a lot of different colors. It came in this pack. It had a lot of colors in here. It's equivalent to what Model Magic might be or in Crayola, but if you don't have this Creatology brand, that would be an alternative. Also, you'll need some markers. So I have our Creatology markers, some paint if you'd like to, some acrylic paint if you'd like to create this design here. I have a palette for my paint. You can use a paper plate if you have one. I have my Creatology paintbrushes here. Some pom-poms. Right here, we actually only need one for the tree that we're gonna make, but of course, we have just a bunch of them in case you wanted to create like a cool design or something else outside of what we're making today. So popsicle sticks actually help smooth out the clay when we're working. So that's why that's on the supply list. We have sequins on the supply list. These can be found in the kids art aisle as well at Michael's, and I just have a few of them here to embellish our Christmas tree. And then I have this paint pen that also is helpful. Actually, this is glue. This is a easier way to add the sequins. We have some chenille stems that we can use for the circle here that we'll use to hang on the tree for the ornaments, and parchment paper. So parchment paper is really just because I had parchment paper. The supplies list says wax paper, but any non-stick paper would be helpful with the clay. So I tried to do it on my table, tried to form the clay on my table, but I noticed that it was getting stuck pretty easily and I had to be very careful. So this parchment paper or wax paper will be very helpful to you when you're working with this and trying to lift and reshape the clay. But yeah, that's the full list of supplies. Any questions or on the supplies themselves? Of course, if you don't have everything here, you can swap things out for what you have, and always just, you know, school glue will work on adding the sequins if you don't have this particular glue. If you don't have paint, try the markers. So a lot of these clay ornaments will need some time to dry before you work with them. So I would suggest, you know, you might even have a few hours to go out what you need and get what you need to get after you've started shaping it the way you'd like it. Any questions, Ash?
We did have one question that I wasn't sure on the answer. Daniel would like to know if washable paint would work as well.
Washable paint may work if it's like not, if it's the watercolor paint, it will not, because it won't stick as easily. Watercolor or washable paint should work. It's just it's going to, you're definitely going to need to wait till the clay has dried, and then if it gets wet, it'll probably smear the paint. So that's why acrylic paint is being used here. Okay, so, all right, went over the supplies. And of course, you don't have to create what I'm creating. If you guys have other ideas of what you're going to be creating, I'd love to know what you're going to be doing, how you can personalize it and make it more fun. I know my son personally loves rainbows, so he would probably want to create a rainbow with all this clay. Any fun ideas? Now? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in. So I'm going to start with this clay that I'm going to open this one actually, so you see kind of what it looks like and how to work with it. So it's a little bit, it may seem like it's a little bit sticky when you first take it out, but it actually won't stick to your hands. If you work with it a little bit, the idea is you should play with it in your hands for about a minute or two and get the clay nice and soft. And this one's actually a little bit less soft than these other ones that I was working with, but you just roll it around in your hands, and that helps solidify the clay a little bit and make it a little easier to work with. This one is actually perfect for what I needed. So this is the white one that I took out earlier. It's actually softer. I don't know if you can see that. It's actually much softer than this red one that I just took out of the package. This one feels like it's almost like this one, this clay that has been sitting out for probably the last hour. I started working on that about an hour ago, and that's about how this feels. So that's kind of a good thing because it's a little bit easier to work with. So this red I got out to embellish my my stocking here. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that one. So I'm going to grab.
So we do have some awesome ideas. They finally all came in. So I'll let you know. So Talia says they are doing a Christmas star. Peyton is also doing a star. Someone says, make an elf, please.
Oh, wow.
We have someone using Christmas cookie, or making a Christmas cookie ornament, a rainbow, peppermint swirl, a flamingo, and a lollipop. Like, we have a lot of great ideas.
I love that flamingo idea. I would love to see that. If you or your parents, if your parents can share that with us on using the hashtag Make It With Michaels, that would be awesome. So what I'm doing here, just so you know, before I finish this, I want to kind of show you how I went about creating this stocking. I found it pretty easy to get it the shape that I needed it to by rolling the clay around in my hand and then shaping it into almost like a little log, like a short little log, and then shaping it into like a J, like the letter J. So you see that? And then once it's shaped in a J, you'll simply just press on it, put it on your table, on your nonstick surface, and press down on it to flatten it out a little bit. And again, here's where the craft sticks come in, so you can smooth out the clay a little bit. But I found that my hands did pretty well by just pressing on it like that. And then you can shape it to be a little skinnier up top.
So we have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One question is, what can I swap out for pipe cleaners?
Okay, so for pipe cleaners, I would use either string. If you have some string or ribbon, that would be a good alternative. Here I noticed actually one of the finished ornaments actually has model or this air dry clay that they created kind of a loop. You might be able to use the air dry clay itself, but I think a string or a ribbon would probably be the easiest alternative.
Perfect. Daniel would like to know if you use the whole package of clay. I'm assuming for the
yeah, for the ornament. So
yeah.
For these are each, I think they're each, I think they might each be about an ounce of clay. And yes, I used everything in that package to create this tree here and to create this green stocking and to create this one. So the only one that I'm not using all of it is the red right now, because I'm using just a small piece of the red to put it on top of my green stocking here. So just
perfect. Like thank you. And then we do have a question if this clay has latex.
Ooh.
It's for an allergy concern. I looked on the back of it online and I couldn't see any ingredients.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. I would have to double check. That's a great question. I'm so sorry I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, same here. We'll have to look into that. And then Ari would like to know what can you substitute parchment paper in for parchment paper?
Wax paper, and actually
yep.
Wax paper was what I had, what was on the list, and that would actually work better. It would probably slide off a little bit easier than the parchment, but parchment worked for me.
Okay, great.
And then also if you had, I don't know that it would work on just like a plastic Ziploc bag. I feel like it might get stuck on that, just the way that it's getting stuck on some of this plastic here. So those are the best alternatives I can think of without telling you something incorrectly. All right. So, so now that if you've gotten the shape of the stocking you want, you'll set that aside because you need it to dry a little bit so that you could work with it. So for instance, this stocking was probably sitting there for about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. And I was able to add this. It was still a little soft, like you can see where it started to kind of stretch a little bit right there. But it still works. And then you'll need to wait a little bit longer to write on it. So I'm going to set this aside after adding that red trim up here. So let's move on to another of the easy ones before we get to the more difficult Christmas tree. So this ornament is really cute. It's really simple because it's a circular shape, so it'll be easy to mold. The more complicated piece of it will be the painting here. So let's start with that one. I'm going to grab a different color because I've already actually started. I created that one just so I can get a jump on it, but I want to create as you create so that we're going at the same pace. So I'm going to make it this orange one, this circular shape in this orange color. I really like how bright this one is. So again, like I mentioned earlier, just be careful when you open it. It does tend to try to get stuck in the edges here. So, just a little bit. And you can just use the clay itself to kind of get the rest out. And then this one is pretty soft, like similar to the white one. It's a really cool feeling. I love playing with clay. It's so fun. So this is pretty soft. So what you'll need to do is just work with it for about a minute in your hands. And you can also, of course, play with it on the table over the parchment paper. Just want you to be able to see kind of what I'm doing. And by doing this, it actually makes it a little harder because harder in that the clay is harder and easier for you to create different shapes. Since this one's going to be a simpler shape, all you need to do is create a ball up the clay like this. And then put it on your parchment paper and use your hand to press down slowly. Use the palm of your hand, and that's pressing it out pretty evenly. So I like just use the best tools that you were given here. So I'm using the palm of my hand. Of course, if you need a little more help, you can try to use the craft stick. Or you could use a rolling pin if you have one from your other toys that you've used with Play-Doh or your other clay. But this is pretty flat. And this is about the size of the ornament, the circle that I wanted to create. So once you have it like that, you'll need to create a hole with like a piece of, so the supplies had a toothpick, and you can definitely use a toothpick. I don't have one. I felt like this pen that I had, the end of a pen or a pencil works just as easily. And poke a hole. Try to show you up here. Poke a hole in your clay while it's still a little bit soft so that your chenille stem can fit through it. And now I'm going to set that aside to dry before we start decorating. So the next shape we're going to make with a clay is the Christmas tree shape. So I've already shaped this one, so I'm not going to work with that one quite yet. I'm going to do a Christmas tree in a different color. So you see it created from start to finish. So I'm going to make a yellow Christmas tree. Any questions, Ash? Am I going too fast? Should I slow down?
There have been a couple of questions just about whether you could store the clay afterward if you had extra leftovers, and I have answered that you would put it in an airtight container to keep it from drying out.
Yeah.
And we do have a question. David asking, can we use any type of clay?
So you can, it'll just be, there are different types of clay. There's kid safe clay, which is also different than, you know, the type of clay you might find in other areas of the store that isn't intended for kids. So I would stick to the kids type of clay. There is, there are like other kinds of air dry clay that aren't as spongy and soft like this one. I think the one that comes to mind is like, it feels more like Play-Doh, but that would likely take a little bit longer to dry and to work with. So I like this one because you don't have to wait as long. Probably an hour and a half to dry to where you might feel, depending on how soft or how dry the clay is, how long you might have to actually work with it. So like this one, for instance, I actually created about an hour and a half ago, and it's actually almost fully dry. So that's good news because you don't have to wait as long as you would for something like Play-Doh. Play-Doh takes a little bit longer to dry out.
Okay, so we do have a couple people saying go a little bit slower. And then are we supposed to be painting the clay is one of the questions.
So I am going to make the Christmas tree, and then we can go on to the painting and the embellishing part. So yes, you can start painting if you feel your clay is dry enough to be painted on. I kind of set that aside so that it could dry a little bit before I did that. So you can go ahead and start if you'd like. If you want to kind of go along with creating the Christmas tree, we'll be doing that next. So I'm going to make the Christmas tree out of this yellow, and then we'll start finishing up the other ornaments we have here. So, okay.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have another one. Sorry. Nolan says, I have a ton of salt dough on hand. Would that work to make these ornaments? Yes,
I think salt dough would work. I thought that salt dough needed to bake. So I think that would be, you might need to wait till, you know, your parent could help you finish that for it to harden, and then you can color and embellish.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so for the Christmas tree, I created a ball, but then I tried to mold the clay into a triangle. So I used my fingers to try to mold it into a triangle. And then once I have it in a triangle form that you are happy with, I put it on the table. And then so that it's there. And I use my hands again to kind of press down. And that helped me shape it. Another thing I used was this glue to use as a rolling pin for my Christmas tree. And you can make it as tall or as wide as you'd like. That's my basic triangle. And then I'll show you kind of what I did to make the little peaks here. So I was using my fingers, but I'll try the craft stick idea. So I kind of just added like I pinched it, 2 little pinches on each side. And I'll show you up close. I use this to kind of just pinch the clay, and then I'll do the other side in the same spot. And then I just use my fingers to shape it as pointy or as wide as you'd like. So this yellow has actually dried pretty nicely. It's nice to work with. And then you can also use your rolling pin or whatever your tool to flatten out to make it a little more even. So I'm going to set this aside so that we can start working on painting the other ornaments. So, oops. Oh, and here's a good tip for you. This clay gets stuck to itself really easily, so make sure to keep your ornaments away from each other before they're completely dry. So this one was still a little wet. So I'm taking off the orange that got stuck on it. But the top part is pretty dry, so we can get started on painting. So I have my paint palette here, and I'm going to grab some colors. Buddy, do you want to help me?
Yeah.
Come over here. So I have my son here walked in. So you want to help me make a design? How about I give you this clay to play with? And we can grab one of these paintbrushes for the dots. And you can create any design you'd like. I like these dots here, but what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna do some green and white, and then I kind of want to add, I want to personalize it a little bit. So I kind of want to add my daughter's initial, which is an L. Scotty, can you come over here?
Whoa.
Or do you want to?
Is there any way that you could show us one more of the tree, how you made the shape of it?
Yeah, of course. Do you want to take this with you?
No.
Okay, you can take the tree then. But can you go over there and can you go over there if you're not gonna play? Hey, I'm teaching a class. Okay. Do you want to stay here and play? Or do you want to go over there?
I don't want that.
Okay.
I don't want this. Which places?
Scotty, I'm teaching a class, okay? I'm working. Okay, can you go over there? In the other room? Okay, so I have a few more colors left here. I've got purple, blue, brown, and black. Which color would you like, Scotty? So, what color would you like?
Purple.
Purple? We'll make a purple Christmas tree, okay?
Yeah.
I'll show everybody that.
Don't you help me make my Christmas tree?
Okay, I'm gonna help you. So I'll show everybody what we're doing here. We're grabbing the clay, and this one's a
While
little,
you're doing the tree,
yeah.
Charlotte says, our crafts are looking awesome with gingerbread men wearing glitter pajamas. There's a lot of glitter going on here. That sounds so fun.
That does sound fun. I've got glitter over here too. I think that might be part of my ornament here. So I'm playing with the clay because it's a little soft here. And again, what I mentioned is I made this into a triangle. So it's a circle. And then I tried to form that into kind of a small triangle. And then once I got it into like a triangle shape, that I pressed it down on the parchment paper with my hand. Thank you, Scotty. So we're going to press it down a little bit more. Thank you. This one's a little bit wet still, so it's a little harder to work with, but and then I'm going to use this to roll it out a little bit. And then once you kind of have this flattened triangle, I use the craft stick or even just your fingers to pinch. Add these little indentions here. 1, 2. So that's one side done. And then I try to do the same on the other side in the same spot. Just on opposite sides. Yeah.
That one's gonna be my Christmas tree, and I want to decorate it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, of course.
And then
You're gonna need to wait a little bit to let it dry, okay? Because
whoa!
I'll show you which one that's dry and you can decorate that one. So
Mama, I want to do this one. This one gonna be.
wait. That's the one that I'm gonna be doing next, okay? And I'll help you, okay? All right, so here is the purple Christmas tree.
This is dry, Mama.
Yes, that one's dry. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside to dry a little bit while we start getting the colors ready. So this pink one, I'm going to add a few colors here. My paint. I'm gonna do red, and these are the set that I have are just primary colors. So if you remember, how do you make green? Do you remember, Scotty, how you make green?
Yeah.
Which colors do you mix?
Yellow and blue.
That's correct. Okay, you made me proud. I'm gonna mix your colors. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a little bit of yellow here. And a little bit of blue. No. Oops. That's probably too much. And I'm using my craft stick here to mix colors.
Ooh, Daniel has a great question. Can we use a blow dryer to make the clay dry faster?
I actually thought about doing that right before to use like maybe on the cold setting, it might work. So I just ask your parents if you can do that. I think the cold setting would work. But
Yeah, you don't want to put too much heat and like melt the clay, but
yeah,
maybe a little bit more, air going around it will help dry faster.
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, that looks so good, Scotty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, I'm grabbing some red. All right, so I'm going to use my paintbrush here.
This one's mine.
Okay, you go ahead and have that. Okay, and I'm going to put an L on here for Lucia. Okay, that's my daughter's name. So I'm doing an L. I need more paint.
Mama,
Yeah.
we painted with this.
Hmm?
Which thing we painted?
Which one are you going to paint?
Yes, which thing we
You can
paint?
try painting this stocking. You want to paint this stocking?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you want to do a design like the mandala that we have here, I would suggest using like the pointy end of a pen or pencil to make these nice little dots here. So here I'm gonna just create my own little design. So you can have.
Mama, look, it turned red.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so I'm gonna just let everybody make a design that you like.
Look, it turned to orange.
It does change to orange because that's red and yellow. Okay.
Okay, so Talia is asking if they can use the markers instead of.
Yes, that's a great idea. And I'll show you kind of how it looks, what it looks like to decorate this clay with markers with this next stocking. Because I'm going to add Scotty's name on this one. Oh, you're mixing all my colors, Scotty. All right. So I'm having to improvise over here, but you guys can do the same. So I am setting that aside so I can show you what it's like drawing with a marker. And I'm going to use black so you can see it better on the stocking. So I'm going to move this over here. Hey, no. If you need paint, I can give you some more, but. Here we go, just a little bit. All right, now I need you to move this over here.
My stocking.
I'll pick it up, hold on. Oh. All right,
Oh,
there we go. You can still use that a little bit. Just don't step on the paint. All right, so I'm sorry, my head's in the way. I'm gonna draw here. S, C, O, T, T, Y. That's my son's name. So it was still a little bit wet. So you have to be a little soft if you're trying to draw on it with a marker. But it was a lot easier if you want to add a more intricate design. And if you don't want to use paint, because we're getting messy over here. So that's done. So the next thing I want to finish is actually getting the Christmas tree. Scotty, that's wet. So with the Christmas tree, we added sequins. So let's grab this paint pen. Or no, this is a glue pen. And let's add sequins.
oh, what's this?
I'm just decorating my tree. And then I'll also use it. No, I Don't forget to add a hole in your Christmas tree. Just remember that. What, Scotty? So if you have a toothpick or a pen or a pencil, that will work. See, this had been sitting there for a little bit, but it is still soft enough to add a hole. So there's my hole. All right, so let's add sequins.
Okay, we have a couple more questions. Lily would like to know if the clay bounces.
Not like a bouncy ball. It is a little, it does feel bouncy, but it doesn't bounce as high as you would think, like a bouncy ball.
Yeah, it's a very lightweight clay, almost like a foamy texture.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Amelia would like it if you would make the mandala one so she can see how you do it.
Okay, I will. I'm actually going to do that with because my paint kind of got thrown out here. I'm going to use a marker to do that one. And I'm going to do it on this one that's mostly dry. Or I could try the other side of this. We'll try starting with that one. So I am finishing decorating this tree, and then we'll do the mandala.
Mama, this is my stocking.
Okay, now go wash your hands in the bathroom, please.
That's not. I want to keep helping with you.
I don't need help right now.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so this is, I'm going to set that aside so it can dry. Now, I'm going to try to do the mandala with some markers here.
Me too. I want to do this one with markers.
Okay, so
Let me see.
I actually think thicker markers might
Let
work
me
better.
see.
So you start with one center dot.
Please give me a marker. Please give me color marker.
Okay, and then I'm gonna grab some red. Here you go. We have some smaller dots around here.
I need red. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then I'm going to grab some, I'm going to grab a different color. For Scotty is, I'm going to do blue. And so it looks like the design has some smaller dots, and then there's some little, here, that's a better one. So like the bigger dots with smaller dots kind of going down. So I'm gonna try doing that. Oops. I would recommend waiting till it's dry. This one is just a little too soft to create the controlled dot pattern. So you kind of start making this design with dots, and then you start filling it in. You start filling it in with other colors. I think I'm going to grab some white, because the white really helps it pop. And I think I have a white paint pen, but I actually do. I'm
Mama,
gonna try the
get
paint.
that color to me.
So if you have a paint pen, grab the paint pen. But you can use a like the end of a pencil, like I mentioned, for the dots. So I'm gonna add, oops, I'm poking a hole through it because it's too soft. Some white dots here.
Do you know what happens to the clay if it gets wet after it's dried fully?
I don't think anything happens to it. Like if the question is if it's submerged, I'm not sure what will happen to it, but if it's just like, you know, you spill some water on it, nothing should happen to it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a question. Liam would like you to make the hole in the stocking. I think to see where the hole would go, maybe.
Okay. I will get to that one. I'm gonna you just fill in your dots. And then, so I'm creating kind of that circle design. And then in between there, I'm gonna add smaller dots with a different color. So I'm using green here. Of course, you can use any color combination you'd like. I'm sorry, I'm trying to design this as I go and while I'm holding it up close to the camera. All right. And then I would fill in with some other colors around here with bigger dots. Like, let's try, where did mine, oh, here it is. Let's try with the red color.
Look, Mama. What kind of color, Mama?
Oh, I love
I
that.
make some dots. Look at this part.
I love that.
That part. Look at this part. This one is so pretty.
It is so pretty.
Let's keep decorating all these. It can be beautiful.
It is beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna finish my mandala there. I know it's not exactly like what was here, but just in the interest of time, I'm going to complete that one. So let's get to the stocking. So let me find a lid for
Mama,
this.
look. I want to paint it.
Oh, it looks like my son has taken the stocking. So I'm gonna just grab, so the stocking actually doesn't have a hole. And what we would actually use is a little bit of that leftover clay to kind of create a long rectangle. Oh, looks like that one had sequins on it. Okay. So create like a long rectangle. If it's dry, you can just kind of pull it a little bit to elongate it like that. And then what you'll do is you'll loop it. You'll almost create a loop like this. So it'll be like that. And then I'm going to actually let it dry with a craft stick in between it like that. Let me see that. Yeah. And
Mommy, let's go
what
make,
you'll do is,
let's go make some tea with it. Mama,
here's the
we
Here's the
painted
stocking.
it.
So you'll actually stick it to the back of your stocking. This one my son colored on, so you just stick it to the back of the stocking. And that will serve as the little loop that you'll use for your ornament hooks. So this still needs to dry, but I'm going to leave the craft stick there, and then you'll slide it out once it's dry. And then I'll show you, this is a finished one. And this is the back side of that finished one. And that is how they were able to get the chenille stem to kind of go through it. Does that make sense?
Mama, look,
Okay.
Mama, I made an ornament.
Oh, good job. So here, since all of this is still drying, I think the Christmas tree might be the closest one to. So I'm going to show you how to get a chenille stem in there once it's dry. Scotty, it needs to dry. Can you please leave it there? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I'm going to grab a chenille stem, a green one here. You can grab any color, and then just loop it in the hole. I'm gonna cut it, grab some scissors, and just cut it right there. About 4 inches would be plenty to create a little loop. Oops, and that one was still a little wet. So
Mama, I made some dots.
that looks so beautiful. Okay, so
Let's put it.
I'm gonna twist it here.
Who's this?
So it's still a little bit wet, but that is how you would, once it's dry, you would just create a little loop with the chenille stem and you're good to go there. So the last piece would be, we missed out on adding that the little pom-pom for the Christmas tree. So that's just one thing you would add with glue. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. And then that'll need to dry as well. So I'm going to just let that sit there. But let me show you up close.
Mama, what's this say, Mama?
Go. That says William. Okay.
Oh, Mama.
So I am done with the crafting piece of this, just because we
Mama,
need to let a few things dry, like
This
the
one?
paint, for instance, needs to dry here, so I don't want to start. And the clay needs to dry a little bit more before we loop this in here, so I'm going to stop there. Any other questions, Ash, that I can answer?
Yeah, we had a couple of people actually asking if you could show how to place the top of the stocking. So not the loop that you hook on the like hanger part of the ornament, but just that top trim.
Yeah.
Because I think we didn't get to see you put it on there.
Oh yeah, okay. So again, like I mentioned, this clay is pretty sticky. When it's not dry, it'll stick to each other pretty easily. So my son actually started painting on this one, but it'll still work. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of this red that I still have.
Mama,
It's really not a lot.
Mama,
And
I
Scotty, I need to finish this, okay? Scotty, please, can you go over there to the living room, please?
Hey, this keeps.
Can you go to the living room?
No, I don't want you.
That's okay, that's okay. Just play right there, okay? All right, so we're just gonna make this rectangle here. And then we're going to stretch it a little bit, and then we'll loop it like this. So you make like a little loop. Here we go. Okay. So there, and then what I did is I grabbed a craft stick to kind of just, so that it doesn't stick right here. So it doesn't stick to itself. And then you'll attach it to the stocking by just sticking it on. So.
And the part where you've written Scotty on the stocking, that you just could stick those together when the clay's still wet, correct?
Oh,
so you
yes.
make like a little rectangle and then attach it to the top of the stocking.
Yeah, it's almost exactly like that. You might use a little bit more than what I used for that loop. So, so you would make that rectangle, you'd press it down to make kind of like a bigger rectangle piece. And then you just like stick it on top. So you have to make your stocking a little bit long so that you can just stick that piece onto it.
Mama,
Great.
put all these in my room.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to hop in and remind everybody, if you have been asking to repeat certain parts of the project, you can always go back and watch this whole recording and like pause it where you need to, and go to separate parts that you want to see. In 24 to 48 hours, I will add the link again in chat to that. And that way you can watch it over as many times as you need to.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for reminding everybody, Ash. That is great, because we're going to definitely do this once a lot of this clay has dried, and we'll have a little more time to kind of design. I think that's the most fun part, is just creating your own design with an ornament. So like you could create just a blank diamond shaped clay ornament, let it dry, and then just go crazy with it. Add pom-poms, add sequins, add glitter. I know you guys requested me create an elf. I don't think I'm talented enough to create an elf ornament, but I'm sure you guys can definitely create it. So I would love to see what you create. If you can have your parents share a photo with the hashtag Make It With Michaels on social, that would be so great. But if not, I'm just gonna go ahead and say goodbye so I can help my son finish cleaning up the paint on the floor.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we would love to see your creations. If you have a parent or guardian, post that to social media and use Make It With Michaels and hashtag Michaels Classes. Thank you again, Karina and Scotty, and we'll see you all later. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.